Hello. It's great to see everybody. Welcome to day 3 of our health boot camp. I'm thrilled to be here again. It's been again fun to see and have some conversation on the Facebook page, what's been going on, the process you guys have been going through, the thoughts that have come to you, the pictures that you're coming up with. Kristen, that was a beautiful picture. I love that for the center of your board. So congratulations for continuing to work through this week. Day 3 is, I love the stuff that we're going to be going through today. It's great. And to me, so much of it is what helps us really solidify and launch into moving forward to the health and the life that we want. Very, very tangible strategies that we're going to be talking about today. So welcome. Leah, I see you popping on here. Hi, it's good to see you. And so I want to quick recap from our first couple days. Hi, Jen. Good to see you too. Mwah. So we started our first day with kind of envisioning what is the vision that we have for our health in the future. And I suggested, in order to do that, to create a vision board for yourself with you at the center, the different aspects of your life that are really important to you kind of around the edges, and then finding material, creating material, words, images, whatever it is, that relate to those areas. And then yesterday we talked about, okay, looking at that and looking at this and seeing what are the themes. So you have your different areas of life, right? What are the themes that have kind of come to you in those different arenas? And I talked about, the theme for me of creating playful space for my family and really being focused on my children. Hi, Kristen. Good to see you here again today, too. And I talked about, the theme of making sure I'm paying attention to my relationship with my partner and not just taking that for granted, and that was the theme that popped up for me on my vision board. So wherever you are in that process, wherever you have gotten to with your vision board, hey, Anne, good to see you. Keep working at it. It can take, don't feel like you have to get it done right away. Allow yourself to really think about it, to really feel your way through it. I think when we give ourselves that time in our space, then we're able to really allow things to come to us. This is something I do with clients all the time. And even having myself go through this practice again, there were things that popped up on my board that I wasn't necessarily expecting. Themes that popped out, things that came to me that I said, wow, I'm really thinking about that more than I thought I was. Or, that's obviously more important to me than I was really realizing. So, I encourage you to keep working through the steps of creating this for yourself and figuring out what those themes are that are near and dear to you kind of in this time. I agree, Kristen. I think a vision board is exciting. I think it's really fun to do. I think it can spark a lot for ourselves. And so I encourage you to keep at it. And I am curious then, for those of you, I'm going to just refresh over here. For those of you who have started through this process, what are the themes that have kind of come out? What are the goals that you maybe weren't necessarily realizing you had that you're now seeing kind of through this process? And I would love to see kind of what those things are. What do they look like? So I am popping over here to look at some comments. Awesome. Jen says that she's really been thinking about this and kind of going through the process is helping her focus her priorities. So like finding tools that handle her stress better. And I love that. That's exactly the idea behind something like this, is to just give us an outlet for really focusing our attention and figuring out what it is that we need to be putting our energy towards. And that's a great one to put your energy towards, right? We talked yesterday about sometimes the themes that come up in this are things that we do have control over, like figuring out how to manage our stress. And sometimes they are things we don't have control over. And I gave the example yesterday of my family and I needing to find a new home. I don't have any control over that. And as time goes on, I may have control over that. So I just need to be patient with that right now. So I think having those moments and really allowing us to soak it in is really important. And then asking that question, is this somewhere where I should be putting my energy right now? Is this something that needs to be shelved for later? And Jen, that was a great one of setting your priorities so you can handle stress better is exactly something that you can be putting your energy into and then reaping the benefits of that immediately, right? So that was beautiful. All right, so that is our recap. Keep working through your vision board. If you haven't found the picture for your center yet, make sure you find the picture, post it. I want to see it. We've got a couple beautiful pictures from some very beautiful, vibrant women on the Facebook page. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. They're inspiring. I love them. So today, we have one more. Hold on. Oh, I love this. So Kristen says, going through this process and really defining what's important to her is helping her communicate with her husband in a way that he can hear. And I love that you put that in quotes because it's true, right? We can talk at people and they may or may not actually digest that information. But when we deliver it in a way that they can hear it, then it's so much more effective. And sometimes all that is needed to be able to do that is getting a little bit more clear for ourselves. Taking ourselves first through the process of really clarifying what it is we desire, where it is we want to go, and then having that be so crystal clear for us and knowing where we want to put our energy will help us then translate it to somebody else so that they can also be a support in that process. And then Anne says, showing her where her fears are. That's a really beautiful observation to have. It is amazing to see what will crop up in something like this. And then she says also physically getting the pictures printed out from her computer. I can relate to those moments like that. I both love technology, and then you have the moments where you're like, really? It's supposed to be so easy, and it's really not. But I love that you're saying that, you know, a board like this can help you show where your fears are. And I think it's really both sides, right? It can help us show where our fears are, and it can also help us show us where our strengths are. And while sometimes it's so easy to identify that something is going well, to give ourselves credit for it is hard, but also to then be okay letting that be as it is and refocusing our energy to the place where it's a little bit more challenging, where possibly the fear is. You know, I would say for me, this bottom corner here of my living, right, where I had a lot of things come up of wanting to really foster my relationship with my partner this year. That was surprising to me. You know, I mentioned yesterday, my relationship with him is so solid. I always have felt so blessed that I have such a wonderful marriage, that having this come up on my vision board really made me stop and think, well, why is it there? This is actually a really solid part of my life. So why is it so prominent on that? And in a sense, and it sort of related to what you're talking about of showing me where my fears are. And I don't know that I would have identified it necessarily as a fear, but in a sense, I identified this as a weakness of mine right now. That I've been so focused on other things, growing a business, taking care of my children, the community that I live in, that I realized that this is actually an area of my life that I've been taking advantage of and that I haven't been paying attention to in the way that I really should be paying attention to it. And I'm not sure I would have actually come to that realization had I not taken the time to really do this. So it can be, a little surprising sometimes. And it can be really kind of raw, right? To go through this process and to see what are these themes that are popping out at me, and then to really kind of think to myself, well, why is it there? What is it trying to tell me? What is it that maybe I'm missing in my life that I would like to be moving towards? And then building those steps and moving towards them. So I think that's a really beautiful comment. And I encourage us all to look at our boards in both those lights. Let it show you what your strengths are, where are the places that you're really comfortable with, and let it show you where those vulnerabilities are, or the fears, the things that you wish you had that you don't have, or the things that you've forgotten about that you really want to re-engage with. So that was a beautiful share. Thank you very much, Anne. That's great. Kristen had a follow-up to her comment about helping her husband hear her and her desires, and that he's a visual learner. So this actually is a great way for him to fully understand what she wants and what she needs right now. That he can really kind of take that in a different way than just talking about it. So I think that's beautiful. All right, so I want to move on to today's topic, which is our magical morning strategies. And this one gets me really excited. So the last couple days, we've really been focusing on things that are very personal to us. We all are going to have very different looking vision boards, right? We're even going to have different areas of our life that we're focusing on. The themes that come out of the vision boards are going to be different from person to person. But I wanted to take at least one of the days out of these 4 and talk about things that are true for us all and that are very tangible, things that you can implement at any time. And if you know me and my background at all, they are all rooted in research because that is something that I feel very strongly about. So I have this quote that I really love, and it says that your magical morning starts the night before. And there's a kind of a tag on to that where you could say your good sleep at night starts that very morning. So when we look at having a magical morning, some of these strategies that we're going to be talking about actually relate to the night before and getting the sleep that we require and the healing that we require during sleep in order to have that magical morning. Because you cannot have a beautiful morning if you have not had good sleep. So they're very interconnected. And I think sleep in general is actually something that is not talked about often enough when we talk about our health. All of our other body functions require good sleep. Our body does not function without it, or at least not in the way that it's supposed to. And we can't accomplish all the things that we want if we don't have a foundation of sleep to kind of build off of. So not everything we're talking about today relates to sleep, but there are definitely components. And I want to bring you back to that second part of that quote where I said, not only does your magical morning start with your sleep the night before, but your sleep the night before starts with the morning before that. So everything is kind of building one off of the other. So we're going to kind of talk about that at a broad scale and start looking at what are the things that we can do. So I think the big goal with having a good, productive start to our day and feeling like we can wake up with the energy that we need to do the things that we want to do. The overarching kind of aim for anytime you're looking at that system in our bodies, is to get our sleep hormone, awake hormone cycle going in the right direction. So we're going to talk, it's specifically the two main hormones are cortisol, and melatonin. So cortisol, you probably hear about a lot, right, is the stress hormone, and it's been given a really bad name. It is not all bad. In fact, it's really necessary to have cortisol levels at the right level in order to function properly throughout the day. It's what's used in our thyroid hormones, all sorts of things, right? So it's really critical to have the right levels of cortisol going through our body. On the flip side, melatonin is your sleep hormone. It is really critical to have the right levels of melatonin at the right times of day so you can get the proper kind of sleep and not feel groggy, right? What happens to so many of us in this day and age is that either that whole system gets flipped on its head, or our cortisol is just up all the time and our melatonin hasn't a clue what to do. So the strategies that we're going to talk about today are actually things that you can do to help get that system in line again, moving in the right way, the hormones at the right level at the right time of day, so that you can then have the energy when you need the energy and the sleep when you need the sleep. So just to give you a brief kind of overview, your cortisol, you want your cortisol to peak sometime 1 to 3 hours after you wake up in the morning, and then it'll taper off slowly throughout the day. Your melatonin's the opposite. It's lowest in the morning time, and it gradually increases over the day. And then right before bed, you want it to really go up and be high as you're going to sleep. It's what keeps you asleep through the night. And then it'll taper off, as you go through your sleep cycles, and then be low again in the morning. So, quick sip of water. I want to point out 5 things that I highly recommend that can be magical in terms of getting this hormone cycle to play the right way in your body so that you're waking up with the energy and you're going to sleep soundly. The first one is, we all know, right? Moving our body is important, right? Getting regular exercise is important. Not being super sedentary is important. All those kinds of things. But they've recently done research to figure out, okay, well, is there an ideal time of day to get your exercise, to move your body in relating to your sleep quality? And they found that exercise first thing in the morning is the best. And it's kind of the best by a long shot. In particular, because it helps your cortisol level really increase. It helps your melatonin be low. And then once you've done exercising, your cortisol will start to slowly decline, which is exactly what you want it to do over the course of the day. So you don't have to, in order to get this effect, you don't have to do a full workout first thing in the morning. But if it's possible to get 5 minutes of exercise within the first hour of waking up, it does not have to be strenuous exercise. It just has to be exercise, movement of some kind. 5 minutes within the first hour, they find that really helps boost that morning cortisol level to give you the sustained energy over the course of the day. I actually talk about in workshops that I do that one of the best antidotes to the afternoon lulls is a quick 5-minute activity. My personal favorite, if you've been watching for the last few days, this is not going to be surprising to you, is having a dance party. I throw some music on, I get off my chair, or actually off my ball, and I dance a little bit around the house. Or I do this with my kids when they get home from school. So that's your first strategy. 5 minutes in the first hour of the morning getting some activity in. The second one is to increase the amount of natural light you get during the day. And in particular, again, getting a dose of natural light first thing in the morning. Now, for me, and probably for many of you, it's the middle of winter. It's not particularly light outside because it's a very cloudy, rainy day going on right now. However, the sunlight still comes through the clouds. You still get the natural light. Being outside is really critical, having some natural light. If you can build your office so that your desk is near a window, that can also help as well. But really getting out first thing in the morning, again, just for a little dose of natural light is really critical. And making sure over the course of the whole day, you're also getting natural light in good doses. So what I like to do actually is to combine those first two. If I need to get 5 minutes of activity in the first hour and I also need a dose of natural light, best thing for me to do, put my dog on a leash, go walk her outside. She can do her business. I can get a little movement. I can get my natural light and bam, I'm done, right? Solid. So figuring out something that you can do first thing in the morning to get that boost of cortisol in your body is one of the greatest ways to set your day up for lasting energy that can get you through the rest of the day. Speaking of my dog, barking in the background. It's a very nice bird. All right, so the third thing I want to talk about is actually directly to do with sleep. So wanting our melatonin to be high at the right time of day. We don't want melatonin high in the middle of the day when we're trying to concentrate. It's really unhelpful. We want melatonin to be high when we're going to sleep. It helps us get to sleep quickly. It also helps us go through our sleep cycles in the right order, in the right way, so we can have good sustained sleep over the whole night and not have those multiple wake ups and things like that that drive everybody crazy, right? So one of the best ways to create this sleep is to actually create a sanctuary for yourself to sleep in and to remove the things from your bedroom that don't have to do with the 2 S's. Anybody know what the 2 S's are? It's my favorite. The only things that should take place in your bedroom are sex and sleep. And that's it. Those are your 2 S's. You can call it your sleep sanctuary, right? Work, TV, watching videos on your phone, YouTube, whatever, all of those things should not be taking place in your bedroom. What happens is your brain actually starts expecting that to happen when you go into your bedroom. So even at the end of the day, when you go in your bedroom to sleep, your brain will start activating like you are going to sit down and watch videos, like you're going to sit down and watch a movie, like you're going to start scrolling through Facebook, like all of these, check your email for one last time, right? Your brain will activate in that way and it will not be getting ready for sleep. So creating a sanctuary for yourself where that's a really sacred space for you. And the only things that you're doing there are things that are going to help you sleep better is an important step. Finding another place in your house. So even if you are on a screen later on in the evening, that happens somewhere outside of your sanctuary. So that your brain knows when you are walking into this special space that what is going to happen there, it's time to kind of detach and shut down a little bit. I love this. I was listening to a talk one time and this one guy had a great analogy, right? Where you think about your brain like a computer and we have all these windows open during the day, right? Like on your computer, you've got the eating window of like, what am I going to eat today? What am I going to cook today? What's work look like today? What's my family need today? You know, all these different things that are going on. So we have all these windows open. When we go to bed at night, the only window we want open is our sleep window. All the other windows need to be able to close down. Creating a sanctuary space for yourself in your bedroom is a really good way to help your body learn that when you enter that space, all the other windows get closed down and the only window open is your sleep window. So that's your third tip. The fourth one I'm going to touch on briefly today. It's a hard one to kind of really get into in depth on in just a few minutes, but I think it's really important. And it is to take care of your microbiome or your gut. So this is important. They actually find that your gut health is critical for good sleep. It's also critical for energy, which is probably not very surprising to most of us, right? So there are certain things that we need to do to make sure the nutrients that we're getting, the food that we're eating, the way that we're supporting our microbiome is supporting us to be able to achieve and have the kind of day that we want. So I want to mostly actually talk about some key nutrients that are really critical to actually getting that good night's sleep so that you wake up in the morning and have your magical morning. And there's 4 main ones that I want to touch on. One is actually vitamin C. They have found in research that people who have low levels of vitamin C actually wake up more frequently in the middle of the night. So making sure you have good quality sources of vitamin C that you are consuming on a regular basis. The second one is actually your omega-3s. And this one I thought was particularly interesting. You know, we think of omega-3s are one of the top brain foods you could possibly consume. And it should be unsurprising, right? That if it's doing wonderful things to our brain, it would then translate into be doing wonderful things for our sleep, because our brain is what is functioning so much in our sleep. In fact, our brain does more work while we're sleeping than it does while we're awake. If you don't get enough sleep at night, you actually have a heightened risk for Alzheimer's because your brain can't clean out the trash, so to speak, unless you give it good enough sleep. So feeding your brain with omega-3s actually increases the quality of your sleep. And the way that it does this is actually it will help your brain navigate through the different stages of sleep more efficiently and better when it is well nourished with this nutrient. So having a good quality omega-3s is also really critical. The third one is actually calcium, which we think of all the time as coming from dairy. But actually, your best source of calcium comes from your leafy green vegetables. The other great source is actually from bones themselves. So if you have like sardines and there's little bones in the sardines, or canned salmon and there's little bones in the canned salmon, that kind of thing. But from a vegetable source or a plant-based source, leafy greens are going to be your best source of calcium. So that's another nutrient that's really great for that. And the last one is sort of the mother lode of all nutrients for sleep and relaxation, and that's magnesium. And almost half of the American population these days is deficient in magnesium. This is one that's a little bit harder to take in supplement form because your body can only take so much at a time. So even if you're deficient, you can't just load up on it. It will cause unpleasant problems if you have too much magnesium at once. So I don't recommend doing that. And if you are going to supplement with something like magnesium, you want to talk to somebody who has good knowledge and information about that before you start. But there are other ways of getting your magnesium. And actually one of the most beneficial ways to get it is topically. So you can absorb it through your skin really well. Your body then can use it well, and it doesn't go through your gut. It doesn't go through the problematic area, or the area that will lead to problems. So there are like topical magnesiums, but one of the best ways to get it too is taking an Epsom salt bath. So I hereby give everybody here permission to go buy some Epsom salts and take a bath on a regular basis with Epsom salts in it as a way to absorb in magnesium. You do this especially right before bed, and guess what? It's like a magical remedy to a really great night's sleep. And then you wake up feeling super rested and peaceful and well in the morning. So those are the 4 nutrients. We'll go over them one more time. Vitamin C, omega-3, calcium, and magnesium. So all of those are great, 4 great nutrients to kind of help gear your microbiome, your gut, into giving you energy during the day by helping you create beautiful sleep at night. And then the 5th thing that I want to talk about today, let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, the 5th thing that I want to talk about today is going back to this idea that I was talking about before of, our brain having all these windows open, right? And at night, us wanting to be able to close down those windows and only having our sleep window open. And one of the things that research has found is the best at doing this is a mindfulness practice, whether that's meditation, another form of mindfulness. Tai Chi and Qigong are also beautiful ways to achieve this. They have also found, similar to how exercise is most beneficial first thing in the morning, they have also found that doing meditation in the morning actually helps you sleep better at night. So setting up your morning in this way, if it's possible, and you choose, right, what are the components of this that I want to try first? What are the components of this that really speak to me? But, in an ideal world, we would be able to fit in 5 minutes of outdoor activity, 5 minutes of a mindfulness practice in the morning to carry us and sustain us and have our energy in the right place during the day, so that at night our cortisol's coming down, our melatonin's going up. Maybe we end our day with an Epsom salt bath. We go into our sanctuary that we have created for ourselves. Only the 2 S's are involved. And all of a sudden we've created this cycle where our body knows what to do, what time of day to do it. We have our high when we need our high. We have our low when we need our low. Our hormones are working in the right way. And we have created this very sustainable rhythm for our body. And now we're waking up in the morning feeling like we're ready to take on our day, no matter what happens. Whether our schedule gets blown out of the water, whether our kids come home sick from school, no matter what it is, right? We've got this foundation to work from that allows us to continue moving forward. So I want to give you guys something to think about today. I want you to outline what your magical morning would look like, right? And as I said, your magical morning starts with your night of sleep beforehand. So you can start with the evening before, create it through the morning. What does that look like? What are the components that we've talked about here that really speak to you, that you would like to try on, that you would like to find space for in your life and in your schedule so that you can use them? And what are other things that you've thought of? As I've been talking here today, what has been sparked for you where you're saying, what, that actually really relates to X, Y, or Z. I would like to try that. So create this magical morning for yourself. And then here is the key. Find one place, one thing that you are going to start with, right? Maybe when you create this magical morning, there's actually 7 or 8 new things that you would like to eventually implement or change. I want you to look at this whole thing that you've created. What is the one thing that you would like to start with? And that is what I want to hear on the Facebook page. Come back onto the page, post what is your one thing that you are going to start with to implement in creating your magical morning for yourself. And then, as extra credit, I want you to take that magical morning, envision what that would feel like, envision what that looks like for you, and then look back on your vision board and ask yourself, how does it relate to my vision? How does it relate to what I have created on this board? The themes that have come out. How does this magical morning allow me either to do this, or how does it lead to one of these areas, what does that do? And connect those dots for yourself. Show yourself how creating this magical morning is going to help you achieve those themes that you have come up with on your vision board. So, tomorrow, we're actually going to be talking about an opportunity that I have for you to dive further in and create a plan that will not only just create these first steps, but will extend throughout the entire year and give you a clear path for where you are now, where you want to go, and how to get that. So don't miss tomorrow, because that'll be really exciting. Let's recap really quickly, because I know I am running over today. Sorry about that. So we have our vision board. You've got your themes that you're coming out with, right? And now today we want to create a magical morning. Create the energy that's going to sustain us throughout the whole day and help us achieve really good sleep at night so we can then have another magical morning the next day. So I want you to go think this over, create your magical morning. What does that look like from the evening before all the way through that morning? What are those components? And then tell us on the Facebook page, what is the one thing that you are going to start with to create that magical morning? And again, the 5 tips that we talked about today: exercise first thing in the morning. Doesn't have to be forever. I mean, you could do like an hour workout if you want, but 5 minutes, right? Natural light exposure, again, first thing in the morning. Creating your sleep sanctuary, making sure you're eliminating all the other chaos from your room so that the only thing you're doing in the room are the 2 S's. Taking care of your microbiome, making sure you're getting the nutrients that you need for that really solid night of sleep so that it boosts you for the morning. And coming up with some sort of a mindfulness practice, preferably also to do in the morning, so that it can help you get through your day in a more mindful, peaceful way, as well as help you shut down all the other windows that you've got going on in your brain, so the only one going at night is your sleep window. All right, so that is your recap. I can't wait to hear what you guys have come up with for the one thing you're going to start with to create your magical morning. And I would also love if you have a tie back to your board. I'd love to hear what that is as well. How does a magical morning translate into your vision board, into achieving what you want to achieve with these themes that have been coming out for you? So, and tomorrow we will talk about how you can take this initial content and create a plan that will last you for the entire year. So don't miss tomorrow. We will be right back here, same time, same place. The Rock Your Health Community Facebook page, noon Pacific time, for day 4 of your health boot camp. And we'll be talking about taking these initial strategies, these initial steps that we've been coming up with, and extending that out for all of 2019. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks you guys for joining me, Kristen and Rachel and Jen. It's great to see you guys still on here. Mwah. And I will talk to you tomorrow.